He was the South's Stonewall, but the way he died shocked the entire Confederacy, feared by his enemies. Loved by his troops, the untold power of Stonewall Jackson, this brilliant Confederate general, outsmarted entire Union armies. Until one mistake ended it, all they called him Stonewall. But even legends fall. Here's how he changed Civil War history forever. Why Stonewall Jackson was more dangerous than Robert E. Lee himself. He didn't just win battles. He became a Southern legend. Who was Stonewall Jackson? Real Thomas Jonathan Stonewall Jackson was a prominent Confederate general during the American Civil War, 1861 to 1865, renowned for his tactical brilliance, disciplined leadership, and aggressive battlefield maneuvers. His nickname Stonewall was earned at the First Battle of Bull Run, 1861, for his steadfast defense. Below is a comprehensive overview of Jackson's military career, key battles, strategies, and impact during the Civil War, focusing on his role as a Confederate general. Early military career and background. Born January 21, 1824, in Clarksburg, Virginia. Education: graduated from West Point in 1846, 17th in his class. Served in the Mexican-American War, 1846 to 1848, earning brevets for gallantry. Pre-war life: resigned from the U.S. Army in 1851 to teach at the Virginia Military Institute in Lexington, Virginia. Known for his strict discipline but eccentric teaching style. Personality: deeply religious, reserved, and disciplined. Jackson was a devout Presbyterian who saw the war as a divine mission. His eccentricities included sucking on lemons and holding one arm aloft to balance his blood. Role in the Civil War: Jackson served under the Confederate Army in the Eastern Theater, primarily in Virginia, and was one of General Robert E. Lee's most trusted subordinates. His campaigns, particularly in 1862, demonstrated his mastery of rapid movement, surprise, and psychological warfare. His strategic contributions were critical to Confederate successes early in the war. Key campaigns and battles won. First Battle of Bull Run, July 21, 1861. Jackson commanded a brigade in General Joseph E. Johnston's army. Contribution: positioned on Henry House Hill, his brigade held firm against Union assaults. General Barnard B. reportedly said, "There stands Jackson like a stone wall," earning him his nickname, Confederate Victory. Jackson's stand helped rally Confederate forces, contributing to a rout of the Union Army signatics, established Jackson's reputation as a resolute commander. Shenandoah Valley Campaign, spring 1862. Jackson was tasked with defending the Shenandoah Valley, a critical Confederate supply route and buffer against Union advances toward Richmond. Strategy: employed rapid marches, deception, and surprise to outmaneuver larger Union forces. His foot cavalry covered vast distances, often moving 30 to 40 miles a day. Kernstown, March 23, 1862. Jackson attacked a larger Union force under James Shields, mistakenly believing it smaller. Though a tactical defeat, it alarmed Union commanders, prompting them to divert troops to the valley. McDowell, May 8, 1862, defeated Union forces under Robert Milroy, securing Confederate control of the upper valley. Front Royal, May 23, 1862, outflanked and routed Union troops, capturing supplies and prisoners. Winchester, May 25, 1862, overwhelmed General Nathaniel Banks' army, forcing a Union retreat and capturing significant supplies. Cross Keys and Port Republic, June 8 to 9th. 1862, defeated separate Union forces under John Fremont and James Shields, securing the valley for the Confederacy. Jackson's campaign tied down 60,000 Union troops, preventing them from reinforcing General George McClellan's Peninsula Campaign against Richmond. His victories boosted Confederate morale and showcased his tactical genius. 7 days battles, June 25, July 1, 1862. Jackson joined Lee's Army of Northern Virginia to counter McClellan's advance on Richmond during the Peninsula Campaign. Role: commanded a corps-sized force, but performed uncharacteristically poorly due to exhaustion from the Valley Campaign and logistical challenges. Mechanicsville and Gaines. Mill, June 26 to 27th, slow to engage, partly due to miscommunications and fatigue, reducing his effectiveness. White Oak Swamp and Malvern Hill, June 30th, July, his forces were delayed, contributing to Confederate failures to decisively defeat McClellan. The Confederates repelled McClellan's advance, but Jackson's sluggish performance drew criticism. Second Battle of Bull Run, 2nd Manassas, August 28 to 30th. 1862 Jackson's forces were part of Lee's campaign to counter Union General John Pope's Army of Virginia, conducted a daring flank march to capture Pope's supply depot at Manassas Junction, disrupting Union logistics, took a defensive position at Stony Ridge, withstanding heavy Union assaults on August 29th. On August 30th, coordinated with General James Longstreet's counterattack, crushing Pope's army, decisive Confederate victory, forcing Pope's retreat and opening the path for Lee's invasion of Maryland. Maryland Campaign and Antietam, September 17, 1862, Lee invaded Maryland to gain foreign recognition and weaken Union morale. Jackson was tasked with capturing Harper's Ferry to secure supply lines. Harper's Ferry, September 12 to 15th. 1862, Jackson surrounded and captured the Union garrison of 12,500 men. The largest Union surrender of the War Battle of Antietam. Jackson commanded the Confederate left flank, defending against Union assaults by General Joseph Hooker's corps. His troops held critical positions, including the Dunker Church and West Woods. Tactically inconclusive, but strategically a Union victory, as Lee withdrew to Virginia. Jackson's defense prevented a Confederate collapse. Battle of Fredericksburg, December 11-15, 1862. Jackson commanded the Confederate right flank along Prospect Hill, repelled Union attacks by General George Meade's division, though a gap in his line was briefly exploited before Confederate counterattacks stabilized it. Decisive Confederate victory, with Union forces suffering heavy losses in frontal assaults against entrenched positions. Battle of Chancellorsville, May 1st to 6th, 1,863 contacts. Lee faced a larger Union army under General Joseph Hooker. Jackson executed one of the war's boldest maneuvers. Key actions. On May 2nd, Jackson led 28,000 men on a 12-mile flank march, surprising and routing Hooker's right flank corps in a devastating attack. That night, Jackson was accidentally shot by his own men while scouting ahead. Confederate victory considered Lee's greatest triumph, but Jackson's wounding was a catastrophic loss. Injury: Jackson was shot in the left arm and right hand. His left arm was amputated, but he developed pneumonia and died. On May 10, 1863, tactics and leadership-style mobility. Jackson's foot cavalry was renowned for rapid marches, enabling surprise attacks and strategic flexibility. Aggression: preferred offensive tactics, even against larger forces, to disrupt enemy plans and seize the initiative. Discipline: maintained strict discipline, earning loyalty from his men despite his demanding marches. Terrain: used the terrain, for example, Shenandoah Valley's mountains, to conceal movements and outmaneuver opponents. Psychological warfare: his unpredictable maneuvers created fear and uncertainty among Union commanders. Strategic importance: Jackson's campaigns, particularly in the Shenandoah Valley, disrupted Union plans and protected Confederate resources. His ability to tie down larger Union forces was critical to Lee's strategy. Loss: at Chancellorsville. Jackson's death was a turning point for the Confederacy. Lee described it as losing his right arm. His absence was felt at Gettysburg, July 1863, where the lack of his aggressive leadership contributed to Confederate setbacks. Reputation: Jackson is remembered as one of the Confederacy's greatest commanders. Alongside Lee, his campaigns are studied in military academies for their tactical brilliance. Personal details and death: family, married twice. His second wife, Marianna Morrison, bore his only surviving child, Julia, in 1862. Death: died May 10, 1863, at Guinea Station, Virginia, from pneumonia following his wounding at Chancellorsville. His last words were, "Let us cross over the river and rest under the shade of the trees." Cultural impact: Jackson became a Confederate icon, celebrated in the South for his piety and military prowess. Statues and memorials, such as those in Richmond and Lexington, Virginia, were erected, though some have been removed in recent years due to controversies over Confederate symbols. Jackson's strengths lay in his ability to execute complex maneuvers under pressure, inspire his troops, and exploit enemy weaknesses. His Valley campaign is considered a masterpiece of military strategy, demonstrating how a smaller force can defeat larger armies through speed and surprise. However, his performance was inconsistent. For example, 7 days battles, possibly due to physical exhaustion or communication failures with lead-in. Forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more military, Navy, and geopolitical updates.